Hey there everyone, this is Samuel Johnson and welcome back to the Alien Force Retrospectives, and today we're going to be looking at episode 18 of Ben 10 Alien Force, Undercover. And in this episode, we get the return of a one-off character from Ben 10, specifically Cooper. As the episode begins with Ben, Gwen, and Kevin trying to testing out a teleporter, like the one that Riney used in Alone Together. They try working on it, but it ends in failure with the thing blowing up. So Kevin says he's going to get some help from one of his contacts, and it turns out that contact is Cooper, which Kevin is a little surprised that Ben and Gwen know him, and they talk about that they once worked with him when they were kids. And I'm going to bring this up now because it kind of confuses me. Apparently Cooper has a crush on Gwen. And that was never brought up before this episode. I know I'm stopping this very early on, but it kind of becomes prominent throughout the episode. It doesn't do anything for the plot, kind of. But for some reason, they say that Cooper, when Ben and Gwen met him, he apparently had he developed a crush on Gwen, which, yeah, I don't remember seeing that. Because I remember watching Ben 10 versus in Ben 10 versus -10 when Cooper was there. I think he was a little indifferent towards Ben and Gwen. I mean, he wanted to talk with them, he tried socializing with them, and he was impressed with their talents, but I don't think he developed feelings for Gwen. If anything, he conned both of them. He told Ben and Gwen he had tickets for a concert they both wanted to see, and then when the two-parter was over, he said, "I don't have them. I just said that so you guys would actually talk to me." At what point? So yeah, I didn't see any of that. Maybe it was. I think it was it in an original draft for the episode or something, or is it explained in Omniverse? Because it doesn't really make sense a lot, and maybe it isn't explained in Omniverse because they said they worked with him once when they were kids. So yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why they threw it in there, but anyway, back to the actual summary. So they decided they'll go get Cooper's help to fix the teleporter, but when they go to his house, they find that Cooper's not there, which Kevin finds even more suspicious since he says that Cooper has apparently never left his lab. So upon looking through the lab, they find a machine that they find what looks like a laser, and it shoots at his computers. It turns out it was a quote-unquote, it was a high-tech message in a bottle, as it shows that Cooper was apparently attacked and kidnapped by DNA aliens. So they decide they need to go rescue him. Gwen is able to track him because they're in his basement lab, so his mana is all over the place. So they use that to try and track him, and they wind up at La Soledad from the Paradox episode. And of course they think, what's going on? This doesn't make any sense. But when they actually go inside La Soledad, it turns out that sorry, I thought I was going to sneeze there. Anyway, it turns out that while on the outside La Soledad looks exactly the same as it did when the group was last there, the inside is a lot different. It turns out that the entire town is covered in a giant cloaking field that makes it look like a normal town. And pretty much the outside and on the inside, it's become a giant facility. All the buildings are still up, but erected in the middle of the town is this giant building for materials. There's 3 weather towers, and apparently there's this giant arch that looks like it's being built. They don't know what's going on, but they know that whatever's going on here, it's big stuff. It's big stuff, and Cooper's caught in the middle, so they continue trying to track him and hiding from DNA aliens, and they manage to find Cooper, who has gotten a lot fatter since the classic series, and he's still kind of stumpy. But yeah, that's exactly he's building tech for the DNA aliens. In fact, he's the one that built he's the one that built the damn it, I just used the word. Damn it. He's the one that built the cloaking. He's the one that built the cloaking field that's hiding the town. As such, Ben, Gwen, and Kevin are able to get inside, and are able to get into where they're keeping him, and they're able to free him. And Cooper's able to And so they know that they have to get rid of the cloaking field so that this place isn't as hidden as anymore. So Cooper brings out a little mini one to try and hide them, but it has problems. So they're caught. So it breaks down, and then they're caught. Ben, Gwen, and Kevin get locked in a room, and well, they escape. They escape because the room had this strange material in it that when struck emitted a loud noise that caused all DNA aliens in the vicinity to just keel over. Well, not keel over, but at least kneel in pain, or at least curl up in pain. So Ben has Kevin absorbing it. Gwen smacks Kevin, and so Ben goes echo to reverberate the sound. So they free Cooper again, and they go to the center of town. They go to the arch because that's where the camo is, and they tell Cooper to dismantle it because his technokinetic abilities are a bit different, are actually a lot better now, as he's actually able to disassemble and reassemble machines like with telekinesis or whatever. But as he tries to go into the cloaking device, he sees all these visions. Some are seen in past episodes, but some are armies of DNA aliens, more of what they're doing. They see an armada. He sees an armada of ships, a planet blowing up. It's all foreshadowing. And it's very interesting. It does raise questions, but regardless, Cooper is still able to destroy the cloaking device, and the group manages to escape. And Ben knows that eventually they will have to go back there, because whatever is happening in the Soledad is big stuff, and they assume that the DNA aliens will be able to fix it. And I forgot to mention there was a hybrid there. Didn't really do much, just ordered stuff. I don't know, but either way, he was there. Either way, they managed to when they manage to, as such, then Cooper says yes because he's in love with Gwen, still has a crush on him. Actually, something that does come about this is kind of funny. Kevin just keeps making fun of Gwen because he's not really threatened by Cooper. It's actually really funny. But the end of the episode shows that because they showed a truck driver that saw the city as it was getting uncloaked, and it's him with the sheriff trying to go there, but they managed to repair the cloaking device. And the cover is that apparently this place is going to be, there are construction workers here planning to build a mall. So the truck driver and the sheriff drive off, and the hybrid says, and rather than changing location, they just get back to work. So yeah, pretty much when I was a kid and I watched this episode, admittedly it didn't stick with me very well, and rewatching it now I can kind of see why. Like, there are some parts of it that I do remember. I remember this is when they introduced Cooper. This is when they had to go to La Soledad to save him. This is also where we saw the big arch, which actually does become important at the end of the season. And it pretty much does lay some hints and foundations for later stuff, like reintroducing Cooper, setting up where the hybrids another base of operations of the hybrid. This one being the biggest, kind of showing and even laying this foundation for later stuff. But when I think about, but honestly, while I remember this episode happening, I didn't remember where. Because I watched the episode when I was a kid, and I'm sorry to say, it didn't stick with me very well, honestly. Again, I didn't, and rewatching it, I can see why. The episode is pretty much just a jailbreak episode. Cooper gets kidnapped, and the group goes to save him. And the reason, I think the reason why it didn't stick with me very well is because it's doesn't really do anything new with the premise. It's just the standard story. They save Cooper, and then to make the episode longer, they get captured and they have to start all over. It's nothing that really that impressive, and it's not really impressive, and it doesn't really fit as well, and it doesn't really make as much, and it doesn't really work as well as you would think it would, in fact. And again, it's just rather basic, and there's nothing really new done with the premise. It's just jailbreak. And now, again, there's nothing intrinsically wrong. I think when I watch the episode, it's not intrinsically bad. It's not like bad because we still get the reintroduction of Cooper, that's setting up stuff. We still get the hybrid and all the vision. All that stuff is important, and it is brought up in this episode. And I think it works well in foreshadowing future events. But otherwise, honestly, I think this episode's just forgettable. it's just a forgettable episode. I don't remember. I didn't remember much about it as a kid. Didn't remember much about it up until now, aside from the stuff with Cooper. Honestly, I just think the episode's forgettable because the plot's just basic. I know it was a. I don't. I didn't. Plot's basic. I barely remember where it took place. It stretches it out longer. It doesn't really do much with it. Again, it's not bad by any means because it does have some important stuff in it. It's just that and it does set it up, and that does stick with you. But everything else surrounding that just doesn't work as well, and that's I think its biggest problem. I think it's just a forgettable episode, and that's really it. I can't really think of what else to say about this episode. It's that basic. There's nothing really awful about it. There's nothing that really makes me say, no, or anything just grand. It lays some good foundation for later events, such as the building of the Ark, which the image itself is grand. Because when Ben, Gwen, and Kevin see that, it does make you think, whoa. Because it's the entire operation in Los Soledad has been transformed into this. And the Ark is huge, just extending into the sky. It's amazing, and it's really cool to look at. Again, and seeing so many D and aliens, it does make you think, okay, what's going on here? And I like that. It is very well done. But it's just that everything else surrounding it's not that great. I think, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The plot, that's really its biggest problem. The plot's just been done before, and there's nothing really new about it. Yeah. I can't think of really much else to say. That's all I can think of, which it's kind of sucks for me. I really want to talk about this. I thought I'd find something else in here to talk about, but yeah. It's just a basic episode. Basic and kind of forgettable, so. Yeah. I guess that's really all I have to say. I'm sorry, but that's it, so. Yeah. I'm Samuel Johnson. I thank you for watching whatever it is I'm doing, and tune in next week where we get the return of the Forever Knights and Ship. So, yeah, hopefully that's more memorable than this was. So, yeah. Again, thanks for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson. I'll see you next week. Take care.